Hello everyone, this is Captain Joel, and in this video we're going to be talking about Spider-Woman, the newest 4-star character added to the game. She also goes by Jessica Drew. Well, that's her real name. So, this is a very new costume for her. She's only started wearing it in one of the recent runs for her that started about a year ago, maybe even less. It's an interesting departure from her prior costume, although not quite as sexy. She's got 15,000 health. When young Jessica Drew fell fatally ill, her Hydra scientist parents ran a genetic experiment to save her life. The procedure not only worked, but also gave her incredible powers. In addition to being super strong, super fast, and super durable, Spider-Woman can store and release bioelectric venom blasts, and release mind-altering pheromones. As a member of the Avengers, Spider-Woman endeavors to save the world, and outrun her past. So, I think the artwork's okay. Not great, but it's not bad. So she's a purple, black, red character. So her black skill is 9 black AP. Spider-Woman jumps headlong into battle to aid her friends, darting around and deflecting attacks. Places a 4-turn countdown tile on the board. While active, Spider-Woman intercepts targeted attacks and resisting at 3 covers, 30% of damage dealt. If the attack is below 1600 damage, she dodges, resisting 85% of damage. At 4 covers, she's resisting 50% of damage dealt, and if it's below 22,000 damage, she only takes 5% of the damage. And finally, at 5 covers, she's resisting 70% of damage, and if it's below 5,000, she dodges, resisting 100% of the damage. So this essentially means that for 4 turns, you will take almost no damage for your entire team. Now, in terms of AoE moves, she can't really intercept an AoE move. We'll try to see what that looks like in battle, although it might be a bit tricky to get. But that's a huge damage reduction. It's very similar to Colossus's yellow move, except that she completely negates it if it's below a large amount at 5 covers. But it is also a bit more expensive, and it's going to be very tricky to use. The AI will almost definitely not use it properly. But when you're using it, you can pretty much make your team invincible when you want to, at least from single target damage. So I think that's a pretty interesting skill, but I don't know how practical it is because it lasts 4 turns and it'll take about 3 turns to get 9 black AP, if not more. So you're not going to have this move out all the time. So it's really only useful if you time it perfectly for when you use it to block a powerful move. So I think it's a good skill, but only useful in the hands of a human and not the AI. So it'll make her a big target if she's on defense. Now let's talk about her purple skill. This costs 8 purple AP. Spider-Woman releases pheromones that bend enemies to her will, rendering her prey helplessly infatuated or mortally terrified. If love is chosen, removes up to, at 3 covers, 3 enemy special tiles. If fear is chosen, create 3 hidden trap tiles that deal 3670 damage if matched by the enemy. So when it says special tiles, that means any type of enemy tile. Countdown tiles, invisibility tiles. It's the same thing as Jean Grey's remove feature. At 4 covers, it bumps up from 3 to 5 enemy tiles it removes, and alternatively, if you do fair, then it creates 4 trap tiles at 3900 damage. And lastly, if you bump it up to 5 covers, you're now removing 6 enemy special tiles or 6,400 damaged trap tiles. That means you're doing a maximum of 24 damage if they all get matched. Now, as we all know, trap tiles are very unreliable. They might get written over, or they might not get matched at all. But still, you're looking at a huge damage potential for just 8 AP. That's insane. Compared to the other obvious trap tile creator, who also happens to use purple, X23, she's doing maybe 11,000 damage if the enemy matches it. And it's more expensive. So this is obviously the superior trap tile creator, Spider-Woman. And then lastly, her red move. It's 14 red AP, which is incredibly expensive. Spider-Woman unloads her stored bioelectricity on the enemy team, dealing at 3 covers 3,270 damage to the target, dealing 650 damage to all other enemies, and stunning a random enemy for 2 turns. At 4 covers, the damage bumps up to 5,000 to the target and 1,000 to other enemies, and at 5 covers it bumps up to 8,600 damage to the target, 1,700 to the other enemies, and stuns for 3 turns. So this kind of reminds me of Dr. Octopus's green move. It kind of tries to do too much. It does a huge amount of damage, but it's kind of random. You know, you don't know who you're going to stun. It's very expensive. The single target damage is okay. It's the damage ratio is 871 damage per AP, assuming all the enemies are alive and they have enough health left to take the maximum damage. So it's not bad, it's just very expensive. So you're not very likely to use it in a match, maybe once in a match. And the randomness of the stun is pretty annoying. But then again, if you have it at 3 covers, it does almost no damage. Even at 4 covers, it's not doing that much damage. So I think you would want to have a better red user with her. Even though this is supposed to be her strongest move, I just don't like the high costs. I find myself very rarely using it, and it's always that one match where you get screwed over where you're trying to get the AP and you can't get it in time and you lose because of that. So I really don't like this move. I think that you're better off having the black at 5 and the purple at 5. So that's what I think the best setup for her is. Now let's get to the interesting part. Who would make good teammates for Spider-Woman? Well, I think there's a couple different scenarios you can go for. One of them is to try to maximize the chances of your trap tiles going off, in which case you would want someone like Cyclops as a teammate. He's got active skills for yellow, blue, and red. You would only be missing a green active, which you could fill from one of multiple other characters, including Quake or Punisher. And if you want Iceman as well, but then you'll have a conflict with blue. And I think that Cyclops is probably a good teammate to be using. And then you could use the Punisher. I have mixed feelings about him and his usefulness. A lot of people love him. I'm not such a big fan. I think another incredibly annoying team, and it gives you a perfect rainbow, would be Quake. If you use Quake and you up her to yellow to 5, what you've essentially done now is you made a team that's immune to AoE damage with Quake and immune to single target damage with Spider-Woman. And then, to make it the most annoying team in the world, guess who you add? Peggy Carter. the enemy will barely be able to get a move off. And I think this is a pretty annoying team to fight against. So right now, let's take a look and see what Jessica Drew is like in action. So first off, it's important to realize that black is placeable, which is 10 times better than Colossus's yellow move. Even better, the purple trap tiles don't just go on other purple tiles, so it's much more difficult for the enemy to avoid it. So very soon you're going to be seeing her moves. I hate symbiotes. So as you see, we've got quite a few choices for different attack moves. I want to keep black nice and stock so she can always be out there blocking damage. Still, I'm not getting the purple AP I need though. Finally. So let's first look at To Love. So that's pretty simple. She just got rid of a bunch of enemy special tiles, which is very handy, but very situational in terms of being useful. Now let's look at her System Shock. Take into account there's only 3 cover, so it's much weaker. Unfortunately, Iron Fist was not the one stunned. So as I mentioned, you can place it. I did that on purpose to get rid of that strike tile, and I already had max AP in black. So let's try to get some more purple out. Oh, come on! That's incredibly annoying. Stupid sentries. They think they're so tough. So as you see, no damage taken at all. Nope, no damage. Can't touch this. Can't touch it. Nope, no damage. No damage. No damage. No damage. No damage. See? It's quite useful. I must say, quite useful. So, let's just see what happens when we put down the fear. So you see, they're all over the board. I don't want to match them. If I match them, it doesn't work. So if they match them, dang it, there we go. Sets off only one at a time, but 2 happen to get set off then. So the reason I had mentioned Cyclops as being a good teammate before is because he has the ability to kind of set things up a bit better. So let's see. That's pretty much all there is to Peggy Carter. I mean to Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman. She's an interesting character and can be incredibly annoying to fight against. As you can see, her trap tiles deal huge amounts of damage, and if you set up the board correctly on your own, it's pretty much guaranteed victory. So I think she's definitely a character to be feared. Well, that finished the match. So yeah, I think she's a great new character. Horrible when played by the computer, but if you're playing PvE, she's a really good character that can save a lot of health packs, especially when used with Quake. Yeah, and Peggy Carter, as long as they're not playing survival modes where the enemy has a chance to build up AP. So I definitely like her. I think she has a definite place in the current meta for PvE. PvP, I don't know how much I'd use her. It's just too much randomness in all of her moves, from the trap tiles to the red, stunning a random enemy, to not using black properly on defense. So I don't think I'd really use her for PvP. But I think for PvE she really is a very useful character, and she could save you a lot of health packs. So I'd say she's a mid-tier character, maybe a little bit towards the higher end of mid-tier because of the high damage numbers from the trap tiles. So thanks for watching, don't forget to comment and subscribe.